I woke up late, Dad yelling at my door. "Move it or lose it," he hollered. It was early for me to be out of bed on a summer morning, but my friend Chuck and I were going to ride downtown to skateboard when Dad went to work today, and I'd hit snooze one too many times. Dad was never late for work. I threw on some shorts, a t-shirt, socks, and my smelly Vans skateboard shoes and hurried down the stairs. In the kitchen, I gulped down a glass of milk, and as it coated my throat with coolness, I stared absently out the window at the woods that extended for miles behind our wooden two-story house in Irmo, South Carolina, a leafy suburb 10 miles from the state capital, Columbia. Then I noticed that the thermometer mounted outside the kitchen window read 87 degrees already. It wasn't even 8 o'clock yet. It was going to be hot. "Make sure you drink enough," said Mom, handing me a $5 bill and a small plastic bottle of Coca-Cola. "And don't get hurt. You've got to take the SAT this weekend." I ignored her and picked up my skateboard from where it was leaning against the wall, the glittering grip tape refreshingly rough against my fingers. "Just think," she continued, "next summer you could go to Duke." "Mom," I groaned, "I told you I don't want to go to Duke next summer." "You've got to think about your future, son," Dad said, walking into the kitchen wearing a blue button-down shirt and a red tie, holding his sport coat on a hanger in his hand. His graying hair was washed and parted to the side, his mustache neatly trimmed beneath his nose. I was about to turn 13 and had no interest in thinking about the future. "If you go for this talent scout program," Mom said, "then you'll get a scholarship to go there for college and then law school, and you can get a good job," I said, mimicking her. That was my parents' promise, their spiel, their litany, and I'd heard it over and over again all my life. Work hard, go to a good college, get a good job, and you will live happily ever after. It was a seemingly democratic pledge, the idea that anyone can succeed with a little sweat. But everything that surrounded that promise already made it ring hollow. For them, it was about going to the good schools, which meant living in the good neighborhoods, which meant wearing the right clothes and having the right friends and playing the right sports. And being the right race. "We can talk more about this later," Dad said. "We've got to go. I have a meeting and can't be late." Dad identified so deeply with the insurance company where he worked that until that year, I'd thought Siebel's Bruce was something akin to God. Sometimes, when I'd thank him for a toy he'd brought me back from a business trip, he'd say, "Thanks, Siebel's." I grabbed my Coke and tucked my skateboard under my arm, happy for the chance to spend one of the final days of summer skateboarding downtown, where the terrain was far more interesting than in our leafy subdivision. When we got into his company car, which was square and boxy and looked like a police car, Dad turned the radio to his favorite station for his morning commute. The morning DJ was the father of one of my old friends, David, from elementary school. "Have you seen David lately?" Dad asked. "Not this summer," I said. If a kid didn't skateboard, I was not interested in hanging out with him. I had been a chubby, clumsy loser throughout my life, and now that I was a skateboarder, I felt cool and confident for the first time. Skateboarding was an unlikely passion for me. At least one doctor in a series of specialists had described me as retarded when I couldn't use scissors or skip in kindergarten. My parents had sent me to a special school that summer. "You're so smart, you're going to college," my mom had said, describing this remedial program. She wasn't technically lying, since the program was located on the university campus. But one look around and even I knew that the other kids in the program were not there because they were geniuses. We were the kids who couldn't learn to tie our shoes. I'd hated it, and I couldn't believe they expected me to want to go to another summer program at a university. "But it's Duke," Mom would plead, as if that was supposed to impress me. Hell no, I thought as we pulled out of the garage. I'm going to be skating.